Well, anybody else who wants a repetition of market clearing price? Right. So market clearing price. So market clearing price is basically carried out in a power pool, or what we call as the pool market. It is done by the power exchange. Okay. So in the power exchange, which is nothing but an electricity market, we will be having different types of markets which we have discussed yesterday. So I am considering a day-ahead market where the prices will be finalized for the next day. So in this one, bids will be collected. Bids will be collected from sellers and buyers. Okay. For durations of 15 minutes or 30 minutes or 60 minutes. Okay. I am assuming that I am considering a session of 15 minutes. So for a duration of 15 minutes, I am going to consider the bids of sellers and buyers. Based upon that, supply and demand curves will be plotted. And based upon the intersection of curves will give MCP. This is the procedure for determining MCP. So first of all, you select the time of your bidding, the time of your market. And next, you collect the bids from the sellers and buyers. You accumulate them. And next, you prepare the supply and demand curves. And next, the intersection of these two curves will give you the market clearing price. Okay. Now let's have a quick look. We will take an example again, what we have done in the last class. So I'm considering for tomorrow's date, 24/8/2021. That is tomorrow for 10 a.m. to 10:15 a.m. So I'm inviting bids from different participants. Okay. For tomorrow's date, for 10 a.m. to 10:15 a.m., I'm inviting bids from different participants. And let us suppose this is the participant name and the prices. Okay. These are the prices of electricity. Okay. Let us suppose the prices are set at 1, 1.25, 1.5, 1.75, 2.0, 2.25, 2.5, and 2.75 and 3. These are the price brackets. And there is a customer, a participant. Let us suppose he is a consumer from industry. He is a consumer from a large scale industry. I am assuming that. So what he needs is he will be requiring power throughout the day. Sorry, whatever may be the cost, independent of the cost, he requires electricity. Okay. So whether the cost is 1 rupee or whether the cost is 3 rupees, he requires 50 megawatts of power. These are megawatts, so he requires 50 megawatts of power. Irrespective of, he requires, this is the requirement of his power. Okay. This is the demand. A is a consumer. Okay, he is a buyer, what we call this. So he wants electricity, no matter whatever the cost is. He wants 50 megawatts of power during this duration of 10 to 10:50. Now I'll go with one more customer, B. one more customer B. Let us suppose a common buyer just like me, from middle class, or just like a cottage industry, what we can take. So what he sees, when the price is lower, let us suppose if I take it as a discount company. Okay, we'll go with the cottage industry. When the price is lower, what he does? He buys more amount of power. And when the price is slowly increasing, he doesn't want to buy the power. So he will limit himself to 50 megawatts of power if the price goes beyond 2.5 rupees. These are all rupees, okay? These are all in megawatts. Whereas these are prices are in rupees per megawatt. This is megawatt. Okay. So when the prices are low, this guy wants more amount of power because he consumes more amount of power. Let us suppose if the price is high, he doesn't want to consume power. Okay. This is also a buyer. This is also a buyer. This buyer needs continuous amount of power irrespective of the cost. But this guy, he thinks about the cost and then buys the power. Now let us suppose there is another participant, just like a DISCO who has his own GENCO, a combination of central state government type of thing. So whenever the power is low, whenever the cost is low, let us suppose he buys power. He is buying power when the cost is low. When the cost is a little bit increasing, $1.75 also he tries to buy the power. After 2, let us suppose if the cost has reached 2, he doesn't want to buy the power. Instead, he will sell the power which he has. I am mentioning the power which is being sold as blue color. Okay. See, he is selling the power now. 1 minute. So he is selling the power now. These blacks are nothing but these black indicates the buying of power, whereas this guy, when the price is high, he wants to make some profit. So that's why he is selling power. Now let us suppose there is another person who is a simple GENCO. He wants to sell the power what he has developed. So whatever may be the cost, he wants to sell the power. See, these are the different type of customers. These are different types of participants. Some people, they want power irrespective of the price. Some people, if the price is going on higher, they may decrease their requirement. Some people will be there who will sell the power and also buy the power. If the price is low, they will consume power. If the price is high, then they want to sell their power. And some people will be a pure GENCO where they will only sell the power. So now these are the participants. Let us suppose these are the people who have submitted their bid. A, B, C, and D. Okay. Now the bids have been received. Now let's see the total summation of the bids. Say, what is the demand? Only the black things they will count for the demand. See, what is the demand here? 300. This is 270, and this is 200, and this is 30. I think this is 190. Here it is 120, 110, 100, 100, and 100. This is the demand. See now, what is the supply? The blue things represent the supply. Here it is 50, 50, 50, 50, suddenly 110. This is 130, this is 150, this is 170, and this is 200. So this is the supply curve, this is the demand curve. Now let us draw these two curves now. Okay. So I am drawing the curve. Okay. This is 25, 50, 75, 100, 125, 150, 175, and this is 200. Okay, I'll take some more values. 225, 250, 275, and the last one is 300. Okay. Similarly, here also I'll take 1, 1.25, 1.5, 2, 2.25, 2.5, 2.75, and 3. See, this is the rupees per megawatt hour, and this is the megawatt hour. So first of all, I'll draw the graph between demand and price. Demand and price. See, it is 300 megawatts at 1 rupee. So 300 megawatts at 1 rupee. See, this is the point. 270 for 1.25. Next is 200 for 1.5. And next is 190. Next is for 120. And next is 120 after 110 for 2.25. Next is 100. So this is the curve. So this is the demand curve. I have drawn the curve with respect to demand and price. So this is the demand curve. As the price goes on increasing, the demand will be decreasing. Okay. Whereas as the price goes on increasing, the supply people, they want to garner more profit, so the supply curve will be increasing. Now let's draw the supply curve with blue line. Supply 50 at 1 rupee. Here it is. 50 at 1 rupee. 50 at 1.25 also. At 1.5 also 50. At 2 also, sorry, 1.75 also 2. At 2 rupees, it is suddenly jumped to 110. Next is 2.25, 130. Next is 2.5, 150. And next is 2.75, 170. And next is at 3, it is 200. So this is the supply curve. And this is the market clearing price. See, what is the market clearing price? Somewhere between 2 to 2.25. This is market clearing price, and this is the market clearing volume. This is the market clearing price and this is market clearing volume. And these are the demand curves and supply curves. How demand curves and supply curves are drawn? By aggregating the demands and supply. So this is the way how MCPs are determined. Okay. So how many of you have understood these things? How many of you can determine these things in the examination if it is being asked? Only 2 people? 3? That's it? Okay. So let's see. We will discuss now. This was actually discussed in the last class itself. Now we will be discussing about a new thing now. What we call it as an elasticity of demand. That we will discuss now. Let us see how the elasticity is going to affect the market clearing price. Now let us have a simple question. What do you mean by elasticity of demand? Now let's talk about elasticity of the demand. Let's have a quick interaction between us. I will ask you directly. How many of you do check your current bill? Do check your electricity bill? I will ask you one straight question. Electricity pricing versus demand. So let me ask you one straight question. Now, how are you being praised for your demand, electricity requirement? Are you having a constant price or are you having a variable price? I will say you one example. Now let us suppose if the company NPDCL, if it offers you that if demand is low, okay. How many of you do remember the demand curve? How many of you do remember the demand curve? What is the demand curve? Or what you call it as a load curve. Okay, I think you remember this load curve, right? How many of you do remember the load curve? This will be load with respect to time, isn't it? You might have come across this one in your PS1. Load curve, let us suppose if I take it in the 0 at midnight, 12 a.m. at midnight, again to 12 a.m. at midnight. Let us suppose all this is for 24, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 a.m. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is 12 p.m. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is 6 p.m. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is 12 a.m. again. So how the curve will be? Load curve. Normally during this time, the curve will be slowly increasing till 6 o'clock. Slowly again it will be increasing up to 12 o'clock. Again slowly it will be increasing. At 6 o'clock suddenly, somewhere between 6 to 8, it will be like this, isn't it? Again it will be going down to somewhere. Isn't it? This is the normal structure of your load curve, isn't it? Most probably during this time you will be having a little bit peak. Isn't it? So this is the structure of your load curve mostly. During this period, the electricity will be at its peak. So that's why you're looking at a very big picture. During this time, the price will be very high. During this time, the demand will be very high. And the company, if it is not able to provide this much amount of load during this period, if it doesn't have its own generation, so it has to buy the power from some market, isn't it? So what happens? During this period, if it is buying power from outside, what will happen? Price will increase, isn't it? Price will increase. Because the company may not have the generation to meet this additional peak. So what is the best practice to reduce this load curve? Normally, as an electrical engineer, you people know that load curves must be flattened, isn't it? That is the best way to utilize our resources. Load curves must be flattened. But here, there is a huge peak between 6 to 9 p.m. Isn't it? And the company is not able to peak this one to meet this demand. So the best way is to flatten the curve. So to flatten this curve, now you say how to do this one, how to flatten this curve. Can somebody? Can somebody suggest me something how to flatten this curve? If you are NPTCL people, and every time you are between 6 to 9 p.m., you are getting a huge demand. How to flatten this curve? Can anybody suggest me in the chat box? How to make these customers? You should let these guys distribute this demand to somewhere else, isn't it? So what is the best way you can do it? You can give incentives to the people. Why should you give? What incentive should you give? What is your motto? Such that they consume power at off-peak loads. So whoever consumes power at off-peak loads, he must be given incentive. So then what the people, the domestic people will do? If I am a consumer, if let us suppose, if I am being charged 5 rupees, my charge is 5 rupees per unit, irrespective of the time of the day. What I will do? Why will I choose this time rather than this time? I will choose this time only for my lighting and etc. things, because this time I will be free. I will be coming from the college and I will be doing all my house chores. So isn't it? So that's why I will be using. Let us suppose if the NPTCL offers me that 4 rupees per unit between 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. and only 1 rupee per unit between 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. and rest 5 rupees. So what will the common man do? When will he do the house chores? He will shift his house chores to this. So all the people, all the domestic people mostly, industry people, they can't move into this area. But normal people, they may have the chance to move a partial load from this area to this area. Isn't it? So this is called as elasticity. You are trying to adjust the demand based upon the price by giving some incentive. This is called as demand side management. So what is the advantage of demand side management? What is the advantage of demand side management in market now? Now let's get back to the market. Sir, you are varying the demand with respect to the price. Isn't it? So if price varies, then automatically demand is varying. If I see it as a whole thing, if price is varying, demand is varying. So what is the significance of this thing in electricity market? Now let's have a quick look at your electricity market. The same thing applies to your electricity market also. Let us suppose the costs are like this: 1 rupee, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, and 4. Okay. And the supply is like this: 100, 150, 200, 250, 300, 350, and 400. Whereas the demand is irrespective of the cost, and it is 300. And the demand is 300. Okay. So demand is inelastic in this nature because demand is not varying with respect to cost. You are not allowing to vary it with respect to cost. In that case, let's see how the market clearing price will be. Okay. This is price, this is megawatt hour, and this is 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, this is 3.5, and this is 4. And see, this is 100, 150, 200, 250, 300, 350, 400. Now you see, the supply, how is supply? It is here, 150. This is the supply curve. Demand curve is constant. How it is? It is at fixed at 300, isn't it? It is fixed at 300, isn't it? Now let's see how this is going to be. It is 300 irrespective of my. Is it a little bit slant here? Okay. This is my demand. See the intersection here. The intersection is, what is the intersection, right? It is 3. Isn't it? The curve is intersecting somewhere around 3. So my market clearing price is, where the two curves intersect, it is somewhere around 3. Isn't it? This is market clearing price if there is an inelastic demand. Now let us suppose I will take case number 2, where the demand is elastic in nature. If price is low, then the demand might be higher. Let us suppose it is varying like this: 400, 350, 300, and 250, 200, and this is 150, and this is 100. Now, if this is the case, now let's see. At 400, it is cost is 1 rupee. Okay. You know where they are intersecting? They are intersecting here itself. Which means, see, there is a chance for my market clearing price. This is for market clearing price for case 2. This is for case 1. There is an advantage that I may get market clearing price at lower cost. The market clearing price can be reduced if I allow elasticity in the demand. What do you mean by elasticity in the demand? The demand should be given an option to vary with respect to the cost. If it is not varying with respect to cost, if it is a firm load, then the market clearing price will be a little bit higher when compared to the elastic load. Understood? Elastic loads do influence the market clearing price. Normally, for elastic loads, we do have a simple theory. As the price increases, your demand decreases. So we can have an option that the market clearing price may reduce because of elasticity in demand. So I will ask you a question. With an example, explain me that an elastic load or elasticity in demand will reduce the market clearing price. You are supposed to take me two different cases. You are supposed to draw me the graph. You are supposed to explain me that an elastic load will defaultly have a different density. It is not the case all the time. Sometimes it may be the same as an elastic demand, but there is a probability, higher case of probability that an elastic demand can have a different market clearing price. Okay. So I'll show you one more example of how this is going to work. Now, I'm considering inelastic demand only. So I'm considering inelastic demand only, but I'm considering that the demand is too high and it is somewhere around 450. Hey, my supply curve is only up to 400 megawatts, up to here only. But see, my demand is at 450. This is my demand curve. Have they intersect each other? No, there is a huge gap between supply and demand. So what will happen if this sort of gap arises? Then electricity. The supply is not able to meet the demand. So immediately some person comes who is capable of supplying energy, and what he will do, he will quote the price at somewhere very, very higher, and he says it as 10. I will supply the remaining part, but I will quote it as 10 rupees. So it will go on like this. Whereas this is constant, isn't it? So it will be like this. So see, the market clearing price is going to somewhere else unless there is a cap. There must be a cap here. This is called as market cap. If there is no market cap, the prices goes on increasing. There must be some regulatory authority that there must be a cap. This must be applicable when your supply is not able to meet the load. And this happens particularly in case of inelastic demand. Let us suppose if it is an elastic demand. So what happens? Even though if it is somewhere around 450 or 500 here, see how the elastic demands will be. Elastic demands will be like this, isn't it? If it is an elastic demand, even though if it is 450, there will be a suitable or acceptable MCP. But if the demand is very firm, then automatically what happens? Your MCP is going to increase. So this is the concept which I wanted to show you. Always the government must take initiatives to make the demand elastic. Then only we can have a lower MCP when compared to the inelastic loads. Okay. And I would like to present to you one more thing now. Let's have a quick look about the advantages and disadvantages of elastic and inelastic things. I am turning off the video for a second.
So I'm presenting to you one Are you able to see the presentation now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
This is what we have discussed yesterday. Yesterday, I have given you a glimpse about day-ahead markets, hour-ahead markets, isn't it? And I've shown you the real things also, how MCP is determined there. Now, inelastic markets, if you carefully see, these does not provide sufficient signals or incentives to a customer to adjust their demand. But if there are incentives, then every customer basically he tends to go to a lowest price, isn't it? He will adjust his demand if there are some incentives. See, I'm a normal man. I will adjust my demand if somebody gives me incentives. If somebody asks me, sir, you better consume in the early morning hours so that we will give you at a lower price. Yes, I will be ready all the time. So, inelastic market. Right now, we are experiencing inelastic markets where nobody is giving any incentives to anyone. And the customer will not find any motivation here because he is not getting any incentives. So that's why he stays firm. Why will I go to the early morning hours? Why will I wake up early in the morning and I will turn on all the refrigerator and washing machine, etc. in the early morning hours when I don't have any incentives? I will leisurely sit in my home. I will leisurely do my work. I will leisurely do after my office hours at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. Everybody thinks the same. So that's why what my question is, what my conclusion is. Inelastic markets, they don't provide any motivation for the customers to adjust their demands. In this case, if you go with the markets, only supply will influence the market clearing price. I have shown you, right? Only the supply will influence your market clearing price. Your demand is not going to vary because it is very firm. The advantage is the loads will be very firm. We don't need to analyze much about the loads. So the loads will be very firm. But the limitation, the customer has no choice because he has no incentive. He doesn't want to change. But whereas in case of elastic markets, see, the customers can schedule because they do have a lot amount of incentives and the loads can be adjusted. But whereas a disadvantage, the loads will be varying all the time and you do need a lot amount of analysis to understand how the loads are varying. Okay, so that's the thing. So that's it from my side. So what is our conclusion? Elastic markets are required nowadays, isn't it? Where people will get incentives to adjust their demands. Okay. So anything from your sides? So the questions, see, I will be asking the same question even in your mid semester or end semester examination also. See, the question is very simple. How does the elasticity of demand impact the energy markets and the power system itself? How? Elastic markets, they will surely decrease the MCP. You should take an example, you should draw the curves and you should explain me very clearly. Okay. So that's it from my side. I'm stopping the recording. You can watch the recording whenever you are free if you do have any doubts.